Hey everybody, it's Matthew. Today we're going to be talking about something that's a little difficult for me to really discuss because I do kind of keep it hidden for the most part, although you guys get tidbits from things I mention in videos and of course the little thing I've been adding in the descriptions of vocal covers recently. And that is my disability and how it impacts what I'm trying to do with this channel and all my other musical endeavors and plans I have for things. Now, I made a video similar to this early on, but it was really just about overcoming challenges to be able to do stuff like this. It really didn't get that specific. So this video is going to explain a little bit more, and I think it's necessary at this point given where I am with music. So to put a name on the disability, it is called Becker's muscular dystrophy, which is an offshoot of Duchenne muscular dystrophy because they're part of the same mutation, although Becker's is the less severe version of that, so the symptoms aren't as bad. So that's really the only difference. They're basically the same disease. And of course, what it does limits the production of the essential protein dystrophin, which is really important for muscle growth, muscle size, and your overall strength. It's also a progressive disease, which means over time it does get worse. That's mostly due to the fact of, you get older, you get bigger, you need more muscle to function, and then of course your muscle does naturally weaken a little bit as you age anyway, so it kind of compounds on that. You also get some fibrosis of the muscle tissue, which of course makes it a lot less useful than normal muscle. Now, what does this have to do with music and playing instruments and all those things? Well, as you can guess, it obviously affects everything you do in some capacity, some things greater than others, but it has an impact on everything nonetheless. So starting with guitar playing, it's really not that big of a deal with guitar. I can do most things that you can do on a guitar without really too much trouble. I can still do bends and things. I can still do normal runs and stuff. I can alternate pick pretty fast if I want to. So those things aren't too limited in that respect. Now, the things I cannot do, of course, are more technical things like tapping and sweep picking. Those things are really hard. I can't really economy pick because I don't have the finger dexterity with my right hand to really be able to do that. Legato, as you can imagine, of course, is a pretty big deal because the muscles in the back of your hand here that really help with pushing down your fingers really quick and moving them, those are pretty weak, which is also why I can't do bar chords either. So legato and bar chords are kind of off the table for me in a normal sense. I can do a little bit, but I have to pick, hammer on, and then pick again, hammer on. I can't really, and then pick, pull off, pick, pull off. I have to pick first before I can do one, so I can't really do legato. And there is some fatigue to deal with the right hand that sometimes does come up, like I can't strum really fast or I get tired. And of course, moving this way down the neck like that, doing that very quickly and a lot of times really challenging, makes me really tired. So I'm very much more of a position player with stuff. I'll sit in positions way more. I don't have as much fluidity going through the positions and sliding through power chords and things like that. So that's the main thing. And some of you may have also noticed my kind of weird looking position that I have the guitar in, how I have to sit to play it. And that's literally because of necessity, because I have to get it in a place where it can kind of just hang there on the strap and sit in my lap without me having to do anything with my arms or lean my body in to try to hold on to it, because I can't do that very well. So it's in a position just so where it will basically hang off my shoulder and stuff and not really put any more pressure on my arms or anywhere else. And then of course for singing, that's obviously an even greater problem because there you're talking muscles all the way from your throat and your face down to your abdomen, and even below that you got that whole track there of muscles that you have to use, and of course all of those are affected by that, including the diaphragm, which is probably the most important thing because that controls how much air and how hard you can actually push it out of your body. The rest of the muscles don't really control that. They control other things, like your abs can control your compression and your power and stuff. Your throat and your mouth and things control the tone shaping and all that. So it's a very delicate system in that if all the muscles aren't working properly, it introduces a lot of tension, makes your upper range a lot more difficult to get to and more constricted. because you can't use everything as well to, avoid that. Having good support and good diaphragm pressure is really how you avoid tension and constriction. And so I'm limited in that. I'm limited in the amount I can compress, so I can't be as aggressive. You guys hear sometimes with the Chris Cornell stuff, I can't quite get to that same point just because my body literally cannot push hard enough in that area to make it. Which is why with vocal covers, I talk about their mimed performances, because I have to sit here and go line by line and record each thing several times, because I can't do full takes through because it will not yield the best results with my body. And I always have better results when I do small parts at a time, do one small part, rest a little bit, do another one, rest a little bit. It's kind of that whole thing. So it takes me a long time, probably takes me about 3 times longer than it would for someone who doesn't have that problem to get through tracking something. And it's a huge pain in the ass, and it frankly annoys the shit out of me, because I know I'm so much better than what I sound, but my body will literally not let me be any better. And it's my firm belief I could be on the same level as Layne Staley and Chris Cornell if there was nothing wrong with me, but alas, here we are, and I have to make do with what I got and have to resign myself to the idea that I just cannot sound like these guys, and there's nothing I can do. And that's really what's annoying, is nobody knows that most of the time, because I could bring it up every video, but nobody wants me to do that. That's stupid. That's why the video like this is helpful, but nobody wants that. And then people seeing this stuff, they don't know. They just assume I'm like everybody else. And then when something doesn't quite sound right or fit what they're expecting, I'm getting a phone call. So anyway, yeah, people don't know what I'm dealing with, so they see something's off, something doesn't quite sound right, and they'll leave a comment about it. And sometimes it'll be mean, and people telling me don't sing just because, ignorance mostly, I'm sure, is the reason. But even that, there's jackasses on the internet all over the place that would do that anyway. They don't care. But that's what irks me. I can't take a person and tell them it's not my fault every time. Maybe I should just answer with that the next time someone leaves a stupid comment. Anyway, that being said, at least the setup with singing is easy. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't need help to do it. But with playing guitar, I need help to do that. My guitars are hung up on the wall. I can't get to them myself. My parents have to do that for me, unfortunately. They have to do a lot of things for me because, well, I'm stuck here with them, obviously. I can't get a job, can't drive, can't do a bunch of other things that I don't want to talk about because they get into too much information levels, too much personal detail. And then setting up for videos, getting the tripod out, getting it put on the stand. I can't usually do that myself. I need help with that. I need help turning my light on over here for filming. And I mean, some people might think it's great to have help with that, and it is, but it's a lot more frustrating when you're in a position where you do not have the choice to do it yourself and you need the help because you can't do it. And that's a lot worse than, having the option for the help, but still being able to do it yourself. And then other things I don't mention, I'm kind of a sloppy guitar player a little bit because I can't hold the pick and position my hand the same way. I can't close my hand in a comfortable way and play that way, which is really a lot better for your muting and your dexterity with your right hand. And so it's sloppy there. I can't do quite as good left hand muting because I can't position my thumbs and my fingers quite as easily, which holds me back a lot because I understand a lot of things about how the guitar works, and then I can't do them because, well, the body does not allow for that. Oh, I didn't mention the other things I had to program. Yeah, I got to program bass and drums, obviously. Can't play drums. Take a wild guess about why that is. That's not going to happen. And then bass, I don't know, but I'm imagining the fact that the neck is longer might be a little bit of a challenge. I also can't really play with my fingers. I guess some personal details I can talk about, more frustrating things of, like, I can't stand up on my own. I need help to do that. And walking around is doable, but a giant pain in the ass most of the time. But it's doable enough, and I at least haven't completely lost it yet. We'll see where we are in a few years. And of course, at least I've got this one guy here. Let me raise up and show you. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see the controls here, but my power chair here is fancy. You got a joystick to steer it and drive around 8-mile-an-hour top speed if you're crazy, but don't do that. Obviously I can raise up or down here, It doesn't go quite down as far as I would like it to, but you know, whatever. We can make that work. I can go backwards and forwards with this control. There's a tilt there. The back of the seat can also move if I want to recline, and then I can stick the feet up and out if I want to. Let me come back down. So at least there's that guy to help me get around, but of course that means I don't have a vehicle to drive. Other people have to drive me. So that means I don't have an adapted vehicle to drive. My dad's got a van that he drives that I can ride in with this, so there's that, but it's like if I want to go anywhere, I have to have somebody do that for me too. Now, before this video gets too off the rails and negative, I guess we can talk about the positives. I'm gonna guess within the next 5 years, at least, there's going to be much more viable treatment than just, you know, pumping you with full of prednisone and hoping that that does something for 20 years, which is what we've been doing. And prednisone as a long-term use is not good for you, obviously. It's not as bad as anabolic steroids, but it's still not good for you. And then of course there's a heart side of it, and I have to take 4 different medications for that. So, you know, my heart doesn't quit on me too soon. And hopefully this guy will go for another 30 years before I need a transplant. That's usually the ideal scenario. There will obviously be treatment by that point that will make that not be a big deal, so that doesn't really mean anything. That's the first thing that's going to be fixed, and that will probably be in the next few years. And to the more esoteric point, I guess, which is that struggling and suffering can make for some interesting and inspired music, and that's the one thing I've got going for me, so hopefully that will work out soon. Hopefully I have some stuff I want to try to do this year, or before the end of this year, hopefully, in terms of songs. And then, of course, I do want to make my own album. Don't know when I'm going to start on that. Maybe I'll start on it sometime next year, hopefully. I technically have enough material to make one, so, you know, maybe we should do that. Of course, it's not like a big volume of thing. It's not like I have 30 to pick from and then I can just use the best songs. So we got what we got, and we're gonna go with it and see what happens. But you know, at least there's that. But of course, you don't want to make music from struggle on purpose. You don't want it to be like that. You don't want it to be forced. You want it to come out naturally, because if you try to make things like that all the time, then your music's just going to be sad and pointless all the time, and it's not going to really have as much dynamicism or substance as you might want it to have. That's kind of something I heard from Serj Tankian in an interview. He didn't believe music had to come from struggle all the time, and I do agree with that. It's really tough, though, not to make negative songs when you're stuck in a negative space a lot of the time, given the fact that that's sort of my daily function. You know, it's not fun to deal with. It's very depressing. There are lots of feelings of hopelessness, and why do I need to do this thing? What's the point? Why do I get out of bed in the morning when it sucks? You know, why can't I make music and have fun like everybody else and play live? Or hell, even just a simple thing like have a job at like a guitar store. That would be fun as hell, you know? And I can't do that. I'm gonna stop there before this turns into a therapy session. Anyway, guys, I know this is an unusual video, but I really was feeling this and I really needed to get this out of my system, because I feel it's very necessary that people understand that there are very difficult things that others go through, and you may never know it, and it's really unfair to judge somebody if you don't know what those things are. And I've gotten plenty of that doing vocal covers, of course, but you know, it's not anybody's fault. Not everyone expects you to have a disease that only 1 in 30,000 people have. My hope is that you guys can learn something from this and understand what goes on with me, and hopefully those of you that have stuck around for a while will bear with me as things, hopefully with original music, get going. And like I said, it's really hard, it's really tough, but we keep going because, you know, what else have we got to do and what have we got to lose? It's kind of that scenario. It's like, if I can't do anything else, might as well do this because I enjoy it and it feels good to do. So hopefully I'll be able to start making some good music in the future. That is at least my hope. And as they say, the struggle is real, but it doesn't necessarily matter what that struggle is. As long as you can take that thing and do something good with it, then you know, maybe the whole time it was worth it. And that's kind of where I am. Hopefully I can use everything I've been through to make something interesting and compelling that maybe no one else has heard before. So anyway, guys, like and subscribe, of course. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below. If you got any specific questions with this whole disability thing, you know, leave them down there and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Don't forget to click the bell so you know when a new video is out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time in another video. Have a good one.